we've been friends for a long time,
A really long
25
time.
years. Yeah. What you been doing the last 25 years, Mark?
Well, since I left Southwestern, I was there. I worked for you for a little bit there at Southwestern when you were the head of admissions. Um, I went on to be a youth pastor. No, most notably, I worked for your friend Steve Ingram
Oh yeah.
over at Desert Springs, and I ran SMI and did all the youth pastory things. I don't know if you remember, but back in those days, we met on a fairly regular basis just to kind of, I really wanted to do a good job of being a youth pastor, and you're about 10 years ahead of me, so I went, well, I'm going to pick Randy's brain to figure out how to do this well. And so I was running those programs over at Desert Springs. So Desert Springs is a very similar kind of church to
Yeah.
Palmcroft there in Anthem. Similar kind of situation, and so kind of familiar with that. Then I left Desert Springs and I went to go work at a Christian radio station, a monstrous Christian radio station, 100,000 watts up on top of Mingus Mountain. It covered all the way from I-10 all the way up to Flagstaff and all the way up
Wow.
to Wickenburg into Payson. So a massive
Wow.
listening area, and had the chance to kind of get back into the Christian music scene. In college I was pretty involved in the Christian music scene as an artist, and then I was back involved with that, with promotions and with the promoters and the concerts and that sort of thing, getting those things on the station. They needed Christian radio, but plus we all were able to like find some really great events and broadcast those to all of Arizona and get people involved in those. And that was an exciting time. So anyway, so I went from there and I got an offer to be the associate pastor at Canyon Bible Church. And I was there for a long time.
Where is that? Prescott?
That's up in Prescott, yeah.
Yeah.
And so we started a school, and I was doing the setup and tear down and leading all those teams and helping them get their worship sorted out, and doing all of their media there, plus some pastoral care duties. Then we moved them into a couple different locations, and I helped with setting all those up and getting those minister programs going. But the big thing about Desert Springs, Canyon Bible
Yeah.
Church, is that it grew so fast. When I showed up there, it was a little over 200 people. And when I left there, it was around 1,200 people.
Wow.
It just grew like a weed. And I went and planted a church, also called Canyon Bible Church, over in Cottonwood, right down the street from your brother.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I know your brother pretty well.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty well is a stretch. As much as two pastors
Yeah.
can know each other. And then I ended up going back to the main campus for a little while after that. And then this whole time I had a Blaze Media. That's the company my family owns. I own it. And it was always just kind of a side jam for us. We were making a little money on the side, making some brochures and doing some websites, doing a video once in a while. And then it just kind of at that point turned into sort of a full-time thing for me. And so I've been working for the last 4 or 5 years, working for our family company, Blaze Media, full time. But transitioning back out of that and get excited about getting back into ministry. So there's kind of a nutshell of what I've been doing for 25
Yeah.
years.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you dated Laura, Lara. It's real important.
Lara.
Yeah, it bothers you and me more than it bothers her. I asked her over lunch last week when our families went to lunch, and I said, "Does that bother you?" And she, "No, it doesn't." But I think she's used to it of 50 years of having it happen, so it's no big deal to her.
Well, you
But
call
it's
her Larry anyway.
but I do call her Larry. Her and her brother and I call her Larry, so that's kind of unique, I suppose. But you guys got married, and we know a little bit about your ministry. Tell us about your 4 kiddos. I really liked getting to know Owen at lunch on
Yeah, he's fun.
Sunday. He brought some entertainment value to our lunch for sure.
Yeah, well, I have 4 kids. The youngest one's Owen. He's 7. Um, and he's by far the youngest one in the bunch. He's in first grade, going to Grace Christian Academy and loving it there. It's a great school. It's down Tempe. Then my next oldest is 11 years older, so we had kind of a
Wow.
big gap. So Natalie is at Scottsdale Community College. She's getting ready to do an internship at Disney. She's very excited about.
Great.
She's an
Good.
art major, and so she'll be going on to some other kind of art school her junior and senior year. We're still trying to discover what that is and where her specialty is going to lie. Um, my next oldest son is 21, and he's exploring some vocational options right now. He's a little neurodivergent, so that creates some unique opportunities for him, and so we're exploring some of those along with him. And then my oldest son is at Grand Canyon. He is a pre-med major there, and he's about ready to graduate with his bachelor's. And then he'll be going on to physician's assistant school shortly after that. And he's just got a knack for medicine. So very different crew. My little
Yeah.
family, they all have very different personalities. And as the church gets to know them, they'll discover some of those things.
Yeah. So your most recent adventure was building the business. You spoke about it a moment ago, some brochures and video, but now it kind of blew up. And you do websites,
Mhm.
and have you always been technical, and did you have those skills and gifts back in the day, and or how did that all come about?
Well, to tell you the truth, when I was there at Southwestern, they sent me to school to learn how to build websites and to learn how to make brochures. So thank you, Southwestern Bible
Yeah,
College, for that.
yeah.
That was very helpful. And so I was their first webmaster back in like 95. So
Wow.
I mean, I've been doing websites since it was HTML and front page, and
Yeah,
it was a crazy days back then. And it's always been kind of part of whatever organization I was a part of. It's always been part of my job, has
yeah,
been to do those things. And it was at the station for the first time that the general manager came to me. Her name was Carol. We were still dear friends. Um, she came to me and she said, "Mark, you have the chops to open an advertising agency. You know that, right?" I guess, I just make brochures and websites, And she said, "No, you got it, because you can write too and you can organize things." And so, I kind of filed that one away for a little while, but it had always been something I was kind of on the side. It was in the organizations I was in, and it was on the side. And then when I went to plant a church, the pastor came to me, from the sending church, and he goes, "Hey, you have the chops to start an advertising agency. Why don't you do
yeah.
that and use that to fund your church plant?" And that's exactly what I did. So I took a Blaze Media halftime at that point, and I had the church plant halftime, and that's how we raised funds for the church plant I started up in the Verde Valley. So there's 14 years of my life in a nutshell.
Yeah, yeah. Why did you and Laura decide to transition back into vocational ministry?
Well, first of all, Ablaze Media really is a side gig for me. That's always just been a fundraising extra money kind of thing. At the end of the day, we were looking at this new year at 2024, and I'm looking at having to pivot a couple of things with Ablaze Media. And we looked at each other and we said, why would we do that? Um, my skill set is 25 years in ministry. It's pastoral care, it's preaching and worship teams, AV ministry, project management, all kinds of different kinds of media that are best suited for church environments and nonprofit environments. Most of my clients are even nonprofits. Like, and so we started to ask ourselves, doing some soul searching, why would we take the time and the effort and the energy to expand this for yet another year, when really our skill set as a family lies more in ministry work and our heart lies more in ministry work? It's time for us to go back to that at this point in time. So at that point, I just started putting out my resume to various different places. And I thought, if the Lord opens a door and it's the right door, I'll know it and I'll step through it. And if he doesn't, I can continue making websites and brochures forever. So when I pushed on the door and it opened at Anthem, that was like, okay, I think that's what we were waiting for.
Several months ago, you asked me to write a reference for you. How many months ago? Can you remember?
That was in January.
January.
That's when I first started, putting out applications.
Yeah. So you began that exploration. I knew you were available. I told someone yesterday that this low hanging fruit kept hitting me right in the forehead. And and even Steve Ingram, our mutual close friend over at Avondale, emailed me and said, "Have you looked at Mark?" And I go, I'm just thinking more youth. And well, then all of a sudden the Holy Spirit started opening up some ideas, and we met at O. Henry down on Camelback a few weeks ago,
Mhm.
and one thing led to another. The question I have for you is, you have a lot of skills. You could have landed anywhere. I can say that about you. You can't, but I can, and I can be honest about it. Why did you choose to be with us?
Well, that's a really good question. So let me tell you a few reasons why. First of all, I was looking for I was looking at a number of different positions. And first and foremost, I knew that the ministry overall, it needed to be a ministry job. That's what I was looking for, not just an administrative job. There were some administrative jobs in some churches around that I was qualified for, but it didn't really speak to my heart. I really wanted a church that wanted to reach out to their community. They wanted to impact the community with the gospel. That wasn't just a social club. So it needed to be the right kind of ministry. Um, I do have some administrative skills, so I knew that was going to be part of it. But I also am a creative. So I was looking for something that had a little bit of music and media involved in as well, that had a creative aspect. I was looking for something that also was creative, but then it had a pastoral care element to it. And about 500-ish people, I knew that would be a good fit for my family and had
Wow.
really good theology. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, so that's kind of what I'm looking for as far as the job is concerned. And I thought, well, wouldn't it be really great? These are not deal breakers, but if it was in Phoenix, that would be ideal for me because I'm already here. And it'd be really great if it was like no more than about 20 minutes from the center of Phoenix, from about Grand Canyon. And I really wanted it more. I was looking for something a little more modern than country. There's a lot of country churches that are looking for a guy like me. I'm like, man, something a little bit more modern, kind of in the city. That would be ideal. And uh, then just like if I had everything I wanted, if I knew somebody there, that would be really great. So I'm just
Mm,
like looking at all these things, and all of those things converged
mm,
at Palmcroft. It was like a dream list of things I was looking for. And when I saw all those aspects line up, I went, okay, that seems to be the one. That seems to be the place where I need to go. And then, not to mention our history, my history with Brent Garrison, my history with some other people that are there in the church. I have some relationships that run uh,
yes.
deep and long
Yeah.
in Palmcroft circles in general. And so it just seemed to be really the right fit, almost as if God had called me out of the secular workplace that I'm sitting in right now, and said, "This is the place where I want to put you into for this season."
Wow. It's a great story. After lunch, after church, we went to lunch and you you said you have to be a part of a grace-filled church. And I said, how do you even know we are grace-filled? And your answer, you were taking a bite and you said, like, and I'm sitting there thinking while I'm waiting for you to chew your food, like, I have no idea how he's going to even answer this. I'm really curious. And so we all kind of sat around the table waiting, and you told this story. What did you tell me?
I said I walked into, Palmcroft Anthem, and I saw guys covered in tattoos sitting next to little old ladies from Palmcroft. Um, like I saw that there is an acceptance of very different kinds of people there, and there's a very diverse family. Um, and if you have the guys who are coming out of recovery from a place like Teen Challenge, feeling really comfortable there in your church, that tells me that's a really grace-filled church and the kind of place that I would want to do ministry in.
Wow, that's a tribute to our people, not to me or anyone else, to them. And so thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, you got it.
Lastly, what are you most excited about? I know that Judy's excited about Laura. Laura's love for women's ministry, and she's looking forward to getting involved back into Bible studies.
Yeah.
In fact, we've got some real active ladies, and Judy just can't wait to have her on board. Of course, I can't wait to have you on board. What are you most excited about? And maybe we can break it into two, seeing that our free complimentary subscription to Zoom is 40 minutes and we still have 8 minutes left.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, let's get all of our freebie that we can on a professional level first, and then maybe on a personal level so we can get to know you a little bit better.
Well, gosh, there's a number of things. I am just excited about, jumping back into ministry, doing, the things I'm doing right now, especially when I'm in the for-profit world. I have a tremendous opportunity to be a witness in a lot of different places, but there's an eternal impact that happens when you use these kind of tools for the kingdom and for ministry. So I'm excited to get back into the ministry and into discipleship. So there's that. Secondly, I'm excited to dig into your music and media programs. Those are things that are always near and dear to my heart. And so I have a lot of ideas, but you know, I'm excited to see what the Lord's going to do with all of that, and with mentoring some people in that area, and using some of my years of expertise with training some of those teams and refining some of those ministries. I'm going to have something to do with the youth, and boy, I love
Yeah.
SMI, and I love that. You know what's funny? When I called for your phone number, the lady who answered the phone was Gail Engstrom, and her kids were in my youth group. And she goes,
No.
she goes, Mark Stafford, I want you to know that you really impacted my kids' lives when I was a youth
What?
pastor. And that was again just confirmation that some of that time I spent investing in discipleship and investing in those students really did have long-term effects. So glad to be investing in people once again, rather than just investing in people's pocketbooks.
Yeah.
I mean, pocketbooks are fine,
No,
but
I understand.
we'd rather be investing in
Yeah.
people in,
And you
in
did
eternity.
see ministry. Yeah, we won't let you totally undermine those years. You were a great resource for churches and seminaries and nonprofits. And so it was just a different ministry. This is different.
Yeah.
Uh, and we're just so glad to have you on board for sure.
Yeah.
Um, we love the idea of the executive level, Pat.
Mhm.
You're 50. I hope you don't mind me letting the whole world now on
Yeah.
Zoom.
Yeah. Thanks for that.
You're welcome. Um, and so you're 3 years older than me, or 2 years older. I can't remember the exact number.
Well,
Uh,
given that we met when I was 18,
well, we'll leave that alone.
yeah, you were
But,
already
but
employed and through school.
but our church clearly needs somebody that is professionally at just a different level. And I view you as a partner in ministry. I mean, I put my hands up like this with several people, wanting them to envision. I see us working shoulder to shoulder
Mm.
together, accomplishing what Jesus wants us to accomplish. So that's professionally. Last but not least, of course, personally, what do you hope that might happen here in the Anthem land?
Well, I mean, just personally, first of all, I'm really looking forward to my wife being around some other ladies who really love
Mm,
Jesus, and to see
love it.
her in a fellowship of other ladies. Uh, that's been something that's been kind of missing, and so really excited about that. Excited about Owen being able
Yeah.
to jump into kids ministry and those
Yeah.
things. He's already had a little bit of taste of that.
Good.
Some of my older kids, they're kind of in and out, so you may see
Yeah.
them, you may not. They're all in kind of transition. We're trying to launch them all.
I under
Get
here.
out
I
of
hear
my
that. Yeah.
house, go
Yeah.
get jobs.
Go do
Um,
something. Yeah.
but it's possible that my oldest son may be able to come up and attend, and if that happens, that would thrill my heart. I would love for that to happen. We've been living in two different cities for a while, so that's been really great. And then just, I mean, personally, I just love being around God's people, love doing ministry,
Yeah.
and love doing things that matter.
What are the chances, Mark, that 25 years ago that we would think about being partners again in ministry with
I
such
would,
clear,
yeah,
this is the part that boggles. I think it did you too. Our job descriptions are so clearly defined.
yeah,
It's rare that, usually there's a lot more overlap and confusion and guys wondering, I don't want to step on the pastor's toe, or I don't want to be bully, and then, but it's, you've got your areas, I've got mine, and we'll resource each other, encourage each other, but both of us will be running at a very fast pace. Your temperament, as we've given you that temperament survey, you sense urgency as I do. You
yeah,
move at a very good pace as I do. And that's the culture that we have. And for those things, that I'm just not ever going to take those things for granted. And so, Mark, I officially welcome you and Laura and your four amazing kids to Anthem.
all right. Well, we're so excited about starting.
Good.
All
Thanks,
right.
Mark. I hope you get to go on vacation starting tomorrow. Enjoy that time away with your dear wife, and we look forward to seeing you real soon.
Okay. All right. We'll see you later.
Thanks, Mark. Bye.